Rolling.
Hey guys, welcome to the third installment of Let's Talk by Paper Crane Society. We are your hosts, Janvi.
And Unnati. This installment, we will be asking some common questions about protecting animals and the welfare of our environment to our special guest, Sharanya from Sharan for Animals.
Hello, hi. How are you?
We are fine.
Thank you so much for being here, Sharanya. We
Yeah.
are extremely honored to have you. Getting right into it.
Seeing a lot of stray animals, it is common for people to stop and feed them. What should one actually do when they see a stray animal?
See, the first thing while feeding a stray animals is, or like every human being, stray animals need only 2 feeds per day. Okay, just in the morning and in the evening. But all around we see feeders feeding at unwanted time and all the time, just glucose biscuits or whatever. Firstly, glucose biscuits are not that healthy for animals. And then again, the other things that you all have to take care is, please don't feed the dogs or the animals in front of other societies or someone else's bungalows or shops. Because what happens once you get the dogs into the habit that they are going to find food there, they would be sitting down there all the time, barking and creating chaos to the people entering the society or entering the premises of a bungalow, which in a few days creates problem for the owners, and then it ends up with the having fights among the feeders and the owners of the building. So just make it a point when you are feeding एक तो glucose biscuit every day, दो तीन तीन पैकेट is not good for them, and then feeding time होना चाहिए either early in the morning or late in the evening. And just make it a point कि when you are feeding, just see to it that you are feeding it in an open ground where the dog can later sit. It won't even have a problem even if it is sitting there and waiting for someone else to come and feed it. And it doesn't make an issue or create a chaos in someone else's premises or the compound also.
All right.
All right, ma'am. So, like you mentioned earlier, we should avoid feeding dogs glucose biscuits. So, any suggestions that the feeders can take into account, maybe what the dogs could be fed, the healthier options?
See, you can either feed them dog food, but most of the strays don't accept dog food. But then, even if it is a problem, dogs ko kya hai? They are the stray dogs. They might not eat it one day. They might not eat it the second day. But the third day, when they're hungry, they once they develop taste, they will eat it. And more than the other things that you all feed them, I think dog food is much cheaper because you get 2,000 rupees ka one packet will be enough for you for at least a month. Just because glucose biscuits are cheaper, we go to feed them glucose biscuit, but it's not good for their health. So if you all are genuine dog lovers, or else आपके घर का rice हो, घर का चपाती हो, या whatever is left at home, especially sweet, not sweet or not anything oily. But yes, even your plain rice, your plain dal, plain chapatis, even you all can feed that also.
All right. How is one way that we as a society can influence how stray animals are handled? Is it possible to reduce the number of stray animals and ensure proper homes for them?
The stray animals
used only in one situation, that is which is called neutering. So like the only thing that you all can do to control the population of stray animals is every local MNC is entitled to neuter the stray animals, which is not going to happen in a day or two, but which eventually within if done sincerely, within 2 years you will see a large change in the population of the stray community around here. And then I've been trying to reach out people and tell them and explain to them that each society should at least adopt 2 stray animals which is there around their building. Because if you all can see, stray dogs are the most alert creatures, and when they hear a commotion or a noise, they are the first one to get up and bark. So somewhere or the other, even your watchman or we are all humans, so at night they are the ones who are going to be taking care of the society. Because whenever they see a commotion, they will be the first one to get up and bark and run around, which alerts the people in your building, your watchman and everybody that something is wrong. So if each building adopts even 2 strays, there will be no security issues at all. The dogs will be taken care of. Each building can vaccinate and neuter their own dogs, which doesn't cost a bomb at all, which is done very cheaply. Like even if you have a society of 6 flats, even if you're Dutch into 200 rupees, still the dog can be very well taken care of. And which is going to be which the maniac that the dogs create when they are not adopted, or when they don't get find food, when they don't find a proper shelter, that will also be reduced big time.
Ma'am, this suggestion was indeed really helpful. And actually, the fact that an entire society or an entire locality will have two dogs, they'll be much well taken care of than in comparison to maybe one person who adopts one dog and then has to end up handing them over to the shelter. This is
Yes,
actually a really great solution when talking about taking care of things in the long term. So
right.
I think what you mean is like most things in life, this requires patience, dedication, and the delegation of work equally to each one, right?
Right, because security is what we each person look for. Like we are all worried हमारी कार चोरी ना हो जाए, हमारी साइकिल्स चोरी ना हो जाए, हमारे घर में चोर ना आ जाए, this not happen. So who else can be a better guard than for you, than having 2 dogs in a society who are so alert. Even if you drop a hat, they would just get up and bark at them.
Right. So along with loyalty, we also have their love, right? Absolutely, ma'am.
I see. With the recent rise in popularity of veganism, would you consider this a moment in favor of animal rights? Should veganism be something that the average citizen could pursue if they are trying to be socially responsible?
See, veganism is necessary and it is very important for the ecosystem as well as the animal population, as well as to avoid cruelty. Because see, it is difficult for each person to bring in it, accept it in their lifestyle. But even a minutest details or minutest changes in your diet, if you start with it, it will make a big difference. Like just take milk products for change. Have you all ever seen how the dogs are treated, sorry, the cows are treated to get milk out of them, which is
Ma'am,
for our use?
unfortunately, yes, they're given a lot of injections, they're tortured, and they're kept in cramped spaces.
Yes, the cramped spaces. Because see, if you ever come to the shelter, if you ever get a chance, I invite you all through to come to a shelter one day. So if you all see this milking procedure itself is so painful, because see, first thing, it's not the natural milk that you are getting. Okay, they are given injections for the milk. Okay, this is not natural.
Yeah.
This is full of chemicals, pesticides, and various artificial bacteria which is there in the milk, which is not in any way supposed to be healthy for you or the family kids or anybody. Because see, a natural, if it was for a cattle, which was a natural trait, say she has a cattle and she has a calf and she's milking, that is natural milk. But you can't, you how do you expect a cow to be giving milk throughout the year? That is not possible. That is just happening because they are being her milk is being kept because with injections and various other insemination procedures, and which is not natural. So how we use various other colors and everything in our food, this is the same way. So how in that, in any ways, it is good for your health? So in that, if you drop it out, I think that would be much more better for your health, because you are stuffing yourself with something which is not natural, which is not supposed to be in your body. So veganism in a lot of ways is not just going to save animals, but it is even going to be good for our own health and our own benefits. They say
What are
proteins.
the health concerns with veganism? Yeah, proteins with meat.
Yeah, see, people have this concern that chicken gives a lot of protein, so we are into weight loss or weight gain. We are gymming, so we need proteins and natural. Just tell me one thing: how soya beans are very. There are so many vegetarians who are bodybuilders and they are not. It's not that they're not. You should know the proper source of veganism or proteins, or even animals, if you go to see, these chickens are also not healthy. Poultry is kept in utter disgusting states. They are not tested. The chickens that we buy, they are not tested. They are full of what they are fed, how they are cramped. So it is in no source that fat is not good for you. Protein, soya bean is very good source of proteins. There are so many dals. If had in proper quantity, in a quantity which a dietitian or somebody would tell you, it is of course going to be very effective for you. It is much more better than the artificial protein that you get from chicken, which is not natural, because they are all the proteins and the foods that we get from non-veg is injected.
Yes, yes. And how could you convince someone to become vegan?
For me, I feel you or me or trying to talk to people doesn't make it, won't they won't be able to accept it so willingly or so happily, rather than when they come and see it with their own eyes. When you see something happening, that is the time when you realize what your demand of meat, or your demand of milk, or your demand of not wanting to be a vegan is doing. When you eat a chicken, you don't understand, you don't think about the pain that they are going through to come into your plate.
For our momentary happiness, to enjoy maybe dishes that we like, for the momentary happiness on the tongue, we ruin the lives of so many animals. So it's better to turn to veganism than live with all that guilt, right?
Yeah, it's true, so true. And that too, even after, for our taste buds, it's not just that we are torturing these animals and we are bringing death to them or causing pain to them, but even you have to understand one thing, that what you are doing is not gaining good to you. It's not doing good to you. That fat or that protein or that milk is not good for your health. It's not natural. Where now people are into bioorganics, organic vegetables, organic fruits and everything. In which way is meat or we who are being injected, or milk which you get out of injected cattle, good for your health? They're full of fats which is not supposed to be there in your body.
Thank you, ma'am, for that insight. Moving on, what are some shopping tactics and lifestyle changes we should make to reduce our net waste and effect on the environment?
See, the best shopping things of late, everybody, I feel, in, I don't understand the concept. Like now, if you see my car, I have a full cloth bag full of bags that I need tomorrow. People are like, hum bhool jate hain. Why? When you all don't remember, when you all can't forget taking your mobile phones, when you all don't forget taking your keychains, just taking a cloth bag, how is it going to make it difficult? And lately, with this corona thing happened, the new issue that we are going to be very soon facing, I hope you both know it too. It is the masks.
Masks, ma'am, masks
Yes.
are they are disposed incorrectly. We're supposed to cut off the strings and make sure that it
Yes,
doesn't get
yes.
stuck to an animal's body. Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Today itself, we got an egret bird. It's a water egret, which had a mask ka jo elastic tangled into her leg, and which had become so tight like her bone had got cut. Very soon, see, we have cloth masks instead of using this disposable mask and throwing it. And lately people have started even throwing the cloth masks all over the town. I don't understand the logic. A cloth mask is your worn so that you can reuse it. And carrying a cloth bag when you go marketing is how difficult. Disposing of whatever you're eating, glasses, paper glasses or anything, into a dustbin, which is, I don't think, you don't find dustbins in each nook and corner lately. McDonald's ke samne hoga. Like whenever you're crossing through a road, I'm sure you will come across 2 or 3 McDonald's or something. Or mostly what I do is, like, I keep it in my car. I have a box, biscuit box in my car, in which I keep dumping all the dustbins. And in the evenings, every day when I come home, I keep it and I throw it in my dustbin. How difficult is
Ma'am,
it? It is just a lifestyle change. Like once, एक दिन भूल जाओगे, 2 दिन भूल जाओगे, third day you will, it becomes a routine.
Yes, ma'am.
So, ma'am, what do you think about, like you mentioned earlier, masks are being disposed incorrectly, and that's causing a lot of harm to the environment. Most people haven't spoken about it. It's the issue of menstrual hygiene. Ma'am,
Right.
what do you think is an alternative to sanitary pads being disposed? What is your
Lately,
opinion about
see,
menstrual cups?
yeah, for me, I would vote for menstrual cup anytime, because I used to use a tampon for the longest time, because I never used a sanitary pad after I came out of college, because I started developing. So I used to always use a tampon. But after that, just a year back, when I go for treks regularly, I just learned about the menstrual cup, and I must say it is godsend for every woman. It is really godsend for every woman.
Yes, that was a great insight, ma'am. I hope the water egret is okay now. So,
I hope you will be fine.
there are more and more sustainable options coming up now, such as refillable soap containers, plastic-less shampoo, and more. How long do you think this would take for such products to become a norm, or will they ever take off in the market?
It will, I'm very sure, because it is like upon me, upon you and me. Like, I use a menstrual cup. I'm not shy to talk about it to my friends or suggest it to them and encourage them to use it. Like, in between, I had gone to Australia where my kids are studying, so I went there, and you won't believe it, I bought all the biodegradable sanitary pads, which the menstrual cups, the tampons, which is biodegradable. I just wanted to learn how they are made, why are they biodegradable, and why they are so important for our climate and for the environment. To learn, we need to encourage other people, because here at this point, there are so many people, are so women who are so shy to even discuss periods. I don't understand why. It is not rocket science. A man, when he sees a woman, he knows she's going to have a periods. So why
Yes.
not? Why don't we just encourage our kind? Like, I tell you, you tell someone else. This is how people become aware. जब तक हम यूज नहीं किया होता है ना, that time until then we have a doubt about it. But if I have used it, I can confidently tell you, even you get more confidence, you know, she has told me it's supposed to be very good, so even I should try it.
Yes, we should be more open about it.
Yes, we should be more open
Ma'am,
about it
I
and encourage
absolutely
more people to use
support
it.
this.
Yes.
Ma'am, this
Yes.
ideology of yours, the part about spreading awareness and the taboo associated with mental health is actually increasing alarmingly nowadays. But this ideology of yours, I support it a lot. The fact that you said that I'm not afraid to bring it up in public, or when talking to anybody, I'm not afraid to teach them what the reality is, instead of not correcting them about the false news and their very deep-rooted beliefs. I really appreciate that, ma'am. Thank you.
And that is what we need of late, like awareness, because this is just natural. It is natural. Everybody is going through it. You and me are everybody born because women get periods.
So, ma'am, what does Sharan for animals wish to see in an ideal scenario for the coexistence of man, animals, and nature? And what are some ways we as humans can encourage this?
The first thing is, like, I want to tell all humankind or all mankind, like, we are not so important for the ecosystem or for the environment as much as animals are. If you and me are not there, the environment becomes beautiful. Like, just 2 days, 2 months of lockdown, you know, when all humans were locked inside their houses, only the animals were free and animals were roaming around. We all saw the changes that was happening with the environment and the nature, right? We have to understand that for the ecosystem and for the environment, it is not humans who are important, which the humans think like they are the most important thing in this world, which is not true. The animals are the ones who belong here, who keep the nature clean, who keep the nature and provide us with what we need. It is not us humans. So we need to learn to coexist with them. They don't need to learn to coexist with us. It is we who need to learn to coexist with them. Be it a honeybee, be it a bird, be it a earthworm, be it a dog, be it a cow. Each one is very, very important for the environment.
Yes,
So that
ma'am,
is
we
what
agree.
we need to understand. We humans need to understand which the thickheads is still not being able to digest. I don't know why. Is it ego? Is it what? But they're still not being able to digest that fact.
What are some things that people should be aware of and sure before adopting a pet to ensure that they can take care of it as best as possible?
The first thing when you adopt a pet, you have to understand it is an asset and it is going to be a part of you for the next 14 to 15 years. If you all can and if, give that much time and that much love to that soul, only then you all decide to bring it home, because it is a part of a family which has life, which has blood, which has veins, which has everything that we humans have other than a tongue that wags and talks. So we have,
Yes.
when you get in a pet, we have to understand it's a responsibility on our part for the next 14 to 15 years. We should be like how we bring in a baby at home, baby home. You all have 1 year of vaccinations. You all have 1 year of running around to do. After a year, a dog even doesn't give you even half a problem that as much as a child would give you. By 6 months, a dog attains maturity. He's a grown-up boy. He'll start doing things by himself. But the only thing you
True.
all have to do is take care of him, give him 2 times food, give him all the love that you all can. There is no point in bringing a dog, bringing a life into your house and just keeping him tied in a kennel for 24 hours. And you all don't care. Mat lao na. Itna, if it is so difficult to give him life and take care of him, don't bring him home.
Yes.
Absolutely,
Absolutely,
ma'am.
ma'am.
So, ma'am, actually, a lot of people tie up their dogs in kennels and say it's due to their behavioral issues and they don't
Hmm.
really work on it. So, what are some
Hmm.
tips that you'd suggest for people who are having problems with dogs with who they say have behavioral issues?
See, dogs may behavioral issues start because you all are being keeping it tight. The behavior issues doesn't start because you it was set left free and it was left to mix around with people. People keep a dog kenneled, keep a dog tied all the time, which makes them aggressive because like humans in 2 months when we were in a lockdown, we started gaining weight. We started getting irritated. We started snapping back at people. People started getting into depression, anxiety. This is exactly what happens with them also. They need a certain amount of exercise, they need a certain amount of freedom. So the behavior issues starts because you all have not given them the time and the energy to settle down in life. You all didn't give them that time. If you keep the dog free, if you let it mix around with the people, I am very sure the dog is not going to just come and snap at you. And even if there are issues, there is no issue that can't be solved. Even in dogs, like in human beings, we always say कि कुछ भी हुआ सबका इलाज होता है, सबका there is a way out of everything. It is the same with behavioral issues with dogs also. Every behavioral issue can be solved and tackled even in animals, not necessarily only in human beings. And there are behaviorists
Yes.
around here in Nasik as well. There are trainers, there are groomers, there is everybody who are professional enough to help you solve the issues with their animals. So why not just, instead of saving money, why not just get in touch with them and get in touch with them and make it happen.
This is all that we have for today. Thank you again, ma'am, for your presence. We definitely have learned
Thank you
a
so
lot
much.
from you. And to our
Thank you
listeners
so
at
much.
home, you can support us too.
Follow us on our social media in the description box below and follow Sharon for Animals too. They do a lot of amazing work that we salute them for. Subscribe for more podcasts and videos. To donate us, you can DM us or email us at donations@papercranesociety.com. Thank you and have a good day.